Here is the uncomfortable truth. If your RAG system answers too smoothly, it is probably making things up.
Right. A lot of teams say they want grounded answers. But what they really shipped is polite guessing with citations sprinkled on top.
So when people say force answers from context, what are they actually trying to do?
They are trying to make the model act like a constrained reader, not a free-ranging predictor. That means the answer must be derived only from the provided context. And if the context is missing, weak, or conflicting, the model should say that instead of filling gaps from pre-training.
Which sounds obvious, but this is where products quietly lose trust, right?
Exactly. If you are building customer support, compliance search, internal knowledge tools, or contract analysis, the difference between answering from context and answering from vibes is the difference between a useful system and a liability.
Give me a practical case.
Say a user asks, "Does our enterprise plan include audit logs for all users?" Your retrieved context includes a pricing page and a help article. The pricing page says audit logs are on enterprise. The help article says audit logs can be restricted by workspace role. A weak prompt gives you a neat yes. A constrained prompt gives you a better answer. Enterprise includes audit logs, but availability may depend on role settings, and the provided docs do not confirm that every user can access them.
So forcing from context is not just refusal, it is controlled scope.
Yes, refusal is one tool. The larger move is narrowing the model's authority. It can summarize, compare, and infer only when the inference is directly supported by the supplied text.
How do you create that pressure in the prompt without turning every answer into a robotic disclaimer?
Use rules that are operational, not moral. Tell the model, answer only with claims supported by the context. Quote or point to the supporting passage when useful. State uncertainty explicitly. And if the answer is not in context, say insufficient evidence. Also, separate allowed transformations from forbidden ones. Summarizing is allowed. Combining two consistent passages is allowed. Importing outside facts is not.
That sounds like policy language. What else matters besides the prompt?
The context itself needs constraints. First, delimit it clearly so the model knows what counts as evidence. Second, label sources and timestamps. Third, cap context to the most relevant evidence instead of dumping everything. Too much context creates a different failure mode. The model starts smoothing over contradictions.
That is a nasty power shift. You think more context means more truth, but it can actually hand the model more ways to sound convincing.
Exactly. Imagine an HR policy bot. One document says parental leave is 12 weeks. Another older PDF says 8. If you retrieve both and ask, how much leave do employees get? An unconstrained system may merge them into a clean but false answer. A constrained one should say the sources conflict and identify the newer document if dates are available.
So one constraint is not just answer from context. It is answer from auditable context.
Yes, and auditable means a human can trace each claim back to a passage. If that trace is missing, the answer should lose confidence, lose detail, or stop.
What about formatting tricks? Do they really change behavior?
They do when they reduce ambiguity. A strong pattern is to ask for 3 stages internally or explicitly: relevant evidence, answer, and unresolved gaps. You can also require the model to list the exact snippets it used before producing the final response. That nudges it away from fluent invention and toward evidence selection.
Give me another example where this matters outside support docs.
Take a sales enablement assistant. A rep asks, "Can we claim SOC2 and data residency in Canada for this product?" The retrieved context contains a security overview and a regional hosting note. The security overview confirms SOC2. The hosting note says Canadian residency is available only for one deployment tier. If you do not force context, the model may output a pitch-perfect yes. If you do, it says SOC2 is supported, Canadian residency appears limited to a specific tier, and the provided material does not justify a blanket claim.
That is the difference between closing a deal and creating a future legal problem.
Right. The winners here are not the teams with the flashiest demo. They are the teams whose model knows when it has not earned the right to answer.
But let me push on the hard part. Where does forcing from context still fail?
4 big places. 1. Retrieval misses the key passage, so the model faithfully answers from incomplete evidence. 2. The context itself is wrong or stale. 3. The task requires external world knowledge, like basic math conventions, legal background, or product behavior, not written down. 4. Some models still smuggle priors into wording, even when the evidence is thin.
So you can force honesty about the box, but you cannot pretend the box is complete.
Exactly. Forcing from context does not guarantee truth. It guarantees a cleaner contract. This answer is limited to this evidence. That contract is incredibly valuable because now you can debug the right layer. Was retrieval bad? Were the docs stale? Or did the model break policy?
And that changes how you evaluate the system.
Completely. Stop asking only, did the answer sound good? Ask, was every material claim supported? Did the answer handle conflict correctly? And did it abstain when support was missing? That is how you measure whether context is actually in control.
So the strategic move is not making the model more talkative. It is making unsupported speech expensive.
Yes, in RAG, trust is not built when the model answers everything. Trust is built when it can prove why it answered at all.